Nowadays, everything is very divisive, right? If Pelé were active today, I'm sure many would criticize him all the time on Twitter. He would attract a lot of haters. This happened with Messi, with Cristiano Ronaldo, and is happening now with Mbappe and Haaland. Every great player attracts many fans, but also many who dislike him. However, a few athletes manage to remain oblivious to this and place themselves at a level where practically everyone admires them. Ronaldinho Gaucho, for example, is a guy who played a lot of football in his time and did so many different things, so many moves of magic, improvisation, and genius, that those who watched it at the time fell in love and are still fans of his. And the younger generation still comes into contact with Ronaldinho's football, watching his moves and hearing about him. So, in football terms, he is practically unanimous on planet Earth. One of the proofs of this is that famous game in which Ronaldinho, playing for Barcelona, faced Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, played absurdly well, scored 2 goals, and Barcelona won 3-0. If there was anyone on the planet with reasons to hate Ronaldinho, it was the Merengues fans. But we are talking about Bruxo, and he received a standing ovation from the packed Bernabeu. On the field, he enchanted us all, but off the field he also has an irreverent style that makes people sympathize with him. We have advertisements where he appears juggling in the middle of a medieval battle, others where he is dressed as a Jedi, and several other moments, such as in the 2018 World Cup, when he appeared playing percussion in the final. Who said Brazil wasn't in the 2018 World Cup final? He has also sung in an electric trio at the Salvador Carnival, and, believe it or not, he has even shared the stage with 50 Cent. Ronaldinho is very relaxed and irreverent, always smiling and making music. If there's anyone who likes living, it's him. One thing that greatly reinforces this charisma is that, even though he was arrested in Paraguay because of a false passport, this did not affect his image. For Ronaldinho, an arrest is not a prison, it's just another random ride. Ultimately, he was acquitted and is in good standing with justice. He is a guy admired and loved by everyone around the world. Many people associate Brazil directly with Ronaldinho. Many players and former players admit to being fans of his, and he managed to transcend football. Ronaldinho is a personality wherever he goes. NBA players such as LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, and others have already been seen teaming up with the Wizard. He's brilliant, he always has a big smile and doesn't seem to want anyone bad, except when he tried to sell Atari's cryptocurrency, which is worthless today. Those who bought it because of Ronaldinho's advertising, unfortunately, lost money. Marco Reus managed to have almost no haters, largely due to the loyalty and respect he had with Borussia Dortmund throughout his career. It's his favorite club, where he played at youth level, then started his career elsewhere, and returned to Borussia, where he never left, despite receiving several offers from giant clubs. Reus always preferred to stay at Borussia, even when the club went through difficult phases. This is in stark contrast to the type of club Borussia Dortmund has become in recent years, where some youngsters use it as an intermediate career ladder. We saw players like Sancho, Bellingham, and Haaland play very well, but then leave for other clubs with more financial power and more chances of winning trophies. Other players, who developed a close relationship with the club, left for the biggest rival, such as Hummels, Lewandowski, and Götze. But Reus always stayed. In 2015, when the club was in the relegation zone, Reus, who was the team star and was at his peak, not only did not think about leaving but also renewed his contract in the middle of the crisis. This loyalty and dedication always generate empathy in people. BVB fans do not hold back on the affection, respect, and admiration they have for Marco Reus, and these feelings have gone beyond Borussia Dortmund, reaching fans of other clubs as well. Furthermore, Reus was unjustified in his career, as he missed several important moments due to injuries, both with Borussia and with the German national team. He missed the 2014 World Cup, the 2016 Euro Cup, and the 2022 Qatar Cup due to injuries, but even with these absences, the Borussia fans always supported him, as did his teammates and even the national team. Borussia Dortmund and Marco Reus have decided not to continue together from the 2024/2025 season. Already knowing that he would leave the club, Reus had a gala farewell, playing his last game at Signal Iduna Park, where he scored a great free kick and was applauded by the fans and his teammates. It's difficult not to be moved by his history with the club, one of the most iconic in recent football. Marco Reus arrived at Borussia Dortmund in 2012 and, over more than a decade, became a true symbol of the club. His loyalty, skill, and passion on the pitch won not only titles but, more importantly, the hearts of fans. He has always been a player who, despite being harassed by big European clubs, chose to remain faithful to Dortmund, showing that love for the club can speak louder than financial proposals. The farewell at Signal Iduna Park was an emotionally charged moment. The stadium, packed with fans, rose to a standing ovation when Reus, in his final home match, scored a great free kick. It was a scene worthy of a movie script, where the hero says goodbye with mastery, leaving an unforgettable memory for everyone who was present. His teammates also showed great respect and affection, hugging him and applauding his performance. Unfortunately for us Dortmund fans, Reus failed to win the Champions League, with the 2024 final against Real Madrid being one of the most painful farewells I've ever seen. However, Reus is living proof that it's not just titles that create a legend. His career at Borussia Dortmund is a testament that passion, dedication, and loyalty are as valuable as any trophy. Reus left an indelible mark on the club's history. He is an example for future generations of players and fans, showing that the true value of an athlete is not only measured by their achievements on the field, but also by their character and commitment off it. Marco Reus' story with Borussia Dortmund will be remembered for many years to come as one of the most beautiful and inspiring in modern football. Another super cool player is Son Heung-min from Tottenham. He is admired all over the world. Like Reus, many people think he deserved more in his career. Since arriving in England, he has always played very well. A striker who scores goals with both legs and is very dedicated. He would certainly have football to finish his career full of trophies, but he stayed at Tottenham, becoming a Spurs legend. Many people think he would have the potential to play for Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, for example. Son also seems to be a genuinely good person. In the last Asian Cup, when South Korea eliminated Saudi Arabia, Son, instead of celebrating immediately, went to console the Saudi Arabian athletes, hugging them one by one. He is also a guy who pays tribute and helps others. There's a video of him covering a little boy who was freezing, and when he scored a goal, he dedicated the celebration to 5-year-old Riley Keys, who was born prematurely and shouldn't be able to walk. Son is very respectful and mature. When he and Kang In-lee had a fight on the South Korean national team, he resolved the situation in a mature way, making a long post on Instagram explaining it and asking them to forgive Lee. He was also very shaken when Andre Gomez broke his leg in a throw fought with him, communicating with Gomez in the hospital, apologizing and wishing him well. Son is loved at Tottenham, with an article in the Times mentioning that he has become more popular than Harry Kane and sells more shirts than Kane did. Anywhere he appears, there is always a line of fans wanting a photo. He is very attentive, always willing to have that human connection with his fans. According to Brazilian Emerson Royal, Son is a fun guy and has already asked if Neymar knew him, showing his humility. Speaking of beloved players, Santi Cazorla, formerly of Arsenal, is another example. He was always very good with the ball, a true wizard on the field. Xavi, who coached him at El Sad, said that, with the exception of Messi, Busquets, and Iniesta, Cazorla is the player he has fallen in love with most. He is also a good guy, praised by everyone who knows him. Cazorla overcame a very serious injury. In 2016, he had an ankle problem that initially seemed simple but got complicated, resulting in 8 surgeries in the first year. The doctor even said that if he could walk again, he should be satisfied. Cazorla went through a long and difficult recovery, including having a piece of skin transferred from his arm to his ankle, where he had a tattoo of his daughter's name, which ended up on his ankle. Cazorla achieved an incredible comeback, played well again, and was introduced at Villarreal with a magic trick. At the age of 38, he returned to Real Oviedo, the club that raised him, asking to be paid a minimum wage to help the club and demanding that 10% of the earnings from his shirt sales be reinvested into Oviedo's academy. He gave up the other 90% for the club. Finally, N'Golo Kante is certainly part of this list of players without haters. He has a charismatic smile and a respectable life story. He had a difficult life in Paris, worked as a garbage collector, and lost his father at the age of 11. In England, he won the Premier League with Leicester and Chelsea, as well as the Champions League. Even with all this success, he has remained humble, bought a used Mini Cooper, and lives simply. N'Golo Kante won people's admiration with his discreet and simple manner, and also for being a player who never lost his humility. Since emerging onto the world football scene, Kante has stood out not only for his impressive skills on the field, but also for his modest and approachable demeanor. Players and former players, both French and from other countries, always praise Kante for his personality and simplicity. In a world where stardom can easily inflate egos, Kante remained steadfast in his humility. Whether receiving individual awards or contributing to his team's victories, he always kept his feet on the ground, preferring to shift the spotlight onto his teammates and the collective. The French midfielder is often described by his colleagues as a tireless worker and a true example on and off the pitch. Kante's humility is visible in small gestures, such as his initial refusal to drive a luxury car, preferring an economical model, and his way of celebrating discreetly, without fanfare, even after significant achievements. Former teammates and coaches highlight his work ethic and selfless attitude. Kante is known for always giving his best in training and games, putting the team above any personal ambition. This characteristic has made him not only a beloved player, but also a natural leader who inspires by example. Kante's simplicity is also reflected in his interactions with fans and the community. He is known for his willingness to help others and his involvement in charitable initiatives, always with the same discretion that marks his presence on the field. In a sport full of exuberant characters and flashy personalities, N'Golo Kante stands out as a breath of fresh air. His story of overcoming, coming from humble beginnings, and reaching the top of world football without ever losing his essence is inspiring. He is proof that, sometimes, a player's greatest strengths go far beyond the four lines. The admiration that Kante evokes is a tribute not only to his talent, but, above all, to his humanity. These players demonstrate that skill on the field is just part of what makes them so beloved. Their personality, humility, and kindness off the field make them stand out and are loved by fans around the world.